Sorry, you guys. Hello. Okay, there we go. Well, these are, there we go. I did it. Good morning. Good. Hi. Hello, everyone. I can't wait to see all your names. I have a little bar that's kind of crossing over my screen right now. I can't change that for this call. So as I see your names, I will say hello. I'm so happy that you're all here. Welcome to July 2020, to our wonderful Light the Way community, which is pretty special to me as we are bringing new people in. Hello, Sandy. Hello, Susie. I'm so happy that everybody's here. Laura's here from Bali. Thank you, Laura, for getting up in the middle of the night and being on this call and supporting me and supporting us. And thank you, everyone, for supporting me and supporting us and being in this community and connection around the world. Hello, Leanne. I think that's how I say your name. I'm so glad you're here. Everyone who is either gets to be live on the call or is going to receive this in their inbox for the replay, thank you so much for being a part of this community of light-minded souls during this time, light-hearted souls during this time. Hi, Kathy. It feels super important right now to be a part of this community for me, especially feeling like I've known that we would be going through these major life transitions and world transitions for a very long time. Feeling personally like I was born for these times, although that doesn't always make them easy. Just in how my whole life has gone, here we are together. And so everybody that I participate with, I really, in any way, whether or not I see your name here, you reach out on YouTube, or we do emails, or I do private sessions, or I work with you in mentorship, however that is that I have worked with you or am connected to you, I am super grateful. And I feel truly that it is, sounds corny, but meant to be. Hello, Bruce. I don't feel like any of it is by chance. And as we continue on, I think most people feel that way too. So welcome to July of 2020. I think that we're all feeling it. And it's always such an interesting thing to circle back around month after month after month, right? With the same kinds of groups of people. Maybe you're in other communities, maybe, so I think that it's important to kind of, for me, what I'm noticing is it is important to stay in connection, especially as we're going through so many changes that it can feel disconnecting for sure and isolating for sure in some ways. But at the same time, I feel like what's happening is we are parsing out what is not serving us and what doesn't work, and releasing and letting go, clearing. The words are coming that are Osairah is really like, whoof, right here. The dross, right? The things that we don't need, and the situations and the people. And there's a lot of things that we are clearing out. And what I'm noticing in my own different ways is the connection to needing to let go of things, to really discern what is most important in our lives. And I think that a lot of us are living in these feelings of uncertainty, obviously, and high voltage energy as we are spiraling through the galaxy and changing on this planet. And so sometimes we do need each other in a certain sense to tether to at least have the reflection of, okay, here you are again, and we're all in this together. And so that's what we're doing. What was I going to say? I can't quite remember. The morning got away with me so fast. Hi, Sufajen. And I can't see everyone, but I want to see you all. Hello. There's one more up there that I can see. So we are going to have a wonderful call today. I'm trying to remember June's call. I think it was awesome. But what's funny is I'm trying to remember some of the themes and I can't actually remember them. So that's okay. I feel like one of the things to say this morning is that it's like we are holding a future. We're some of the things we need to be doing is paying attention to releasing what doesn't serve and being intentional on what we're allowing to be a part of our lives, intentional on those creations, and holding a good vision, a future of focus that we are intentionally vibrating to. And I'm realizing more and more and more how potent that is. And collectively, the more of us that are in those kinds of alignments, the more dialed in that energy gets. So many of you are very aware of our last two eclipses. And I'm sure a few of you know at least that we are having an eclipse, depending upon where you are in the world. It's on the July 4th or 5th. And it's kind of a big deal too, because this is the third within like for us. I think it's at the top, it's 6 weeks. So it's one every 2 weeks we were having, and this will be the third. And it's a lunar eclipse. And I just want to sort of acknowledge those eclipses, not because I'm an astrologer, but just because I'm a human who, of course, loves astrology, most of you know, but also the feeling and the energy that I tap into during those times. And probably many of you do as well. And my thoughts for this weekend, when it is this lunar eclipse, it's a big one. And it's intensely, I guess the word keeps coming up is purifying. So I feel like one of the things when I was getting ready this morning that Osairah kept repeating to me is, hold on, now I'm getting lost on it. They were saying, oh, okay, there it is. They were saying that one of the themes I think maybe they'll be talking about is how in our daily life and our daily practices, really slowing down in the inward way, not to have the answers, but to be very, very present. In being really, really present, you key in, you feel the subtle energies more. It's so much easier to be distracted by the outside, right? And it's so much easier to just get on Facebook or on something. I don't know if any of you watch the news. Probably most of you don't watch much of it, but I mean, it's so easy to get caught up in the distractions. And what I heard them saying so much is, one of the things is that in order to get the clarity on what to release and let go, to really purify our lives as we step into more empowerment and more conscious intention, that's going to change these paradigms that want to hold on to control. So inward is important, really being inward, really getting into the present moment. Kind of the other couple of phrases I was getting is devotion to meditation. And I took it to heart for myself. I'm like, okay, so I also know we're in Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde isn't the greatest time to start something brand new, brand new. But most of us probably know how to sit and be quiet. So we're not starting something brand new. That would be a practice to go to devote to some time, even if you have to just take 5 minutes every day. And it helps to open up those doors of perception and insight that helps us to get grounded and more calm. And that is going to be needed as we are future focusing. And that is another key phrase that was coming, like I said. So I'm getting a lot of information at once. So I think that is, overall, sometimes I feel very inclined to talk a lot, but I also feel them really present. Wanting also just to say this, that Sleep time may be really key. Pay attention to your dreams at this time and this whole month. The eclipses tend to have some heavy energy, some feelings of they're catalyzing sort of the things we don't need, sort of the idea of death, the feeling of clearing out things, releasing and getting rid of things. That could be beliefs. That could be your long-held ideas of what's right or wrong, good or bad, all the things that we are kind of collectively looking at. And so if you go through, I'm just wanting to help remind you all that if you go through things while sleeping, there's a subconsciousness that is clearing things out. And so to protect and love yourself during that, to take care of yourself during that, to drink plenty of water to get the sleep, to be in water if you can, because it's always purifying. The words for me this morning when I was really sitting and meditating and kind of getting with this idea of July and some of the things I had heard previously, I sort of dropped that out and I just asked, what is it that I personally need to know about July? And then just they start giving me pieces. So that's a lot of times what I come to you with at the beginning of the call. So I'm going to have a drink of my coffee. Yes, it's a huge one, a huge wake up and be awesome mug. So I'm going to pull a card on the front and then the back side. Okay. So I'm going to pull a card here and then we're going to go into the channeling right away. I just feel that that's the thing to do today. I probably have a lot to say. And what else do I want to say? If you have questions, remember, I believe we're going to get to try to do questions. That's just my feeling of how they were putting it to me. I feel like they do want to address some things. So if you have questions, remember to have them be very general to help all of us. Okay, Divine Alchemy. I pulled from the one of my favorites, you know it, Keepers of the Light. And here she is, Holy Amethyst, Divine Alchemy. She's the one who's actually on the cover of the box in the book. So that's cool. And it says, move beyond current challenges. Focus on what you desire. Exactly what I was just saying. The future focus of what we want to really live, what we really want in this planet, in humanity, knowing that there's so much going on that is that there's just these, last measures of trying to control and dominate. And that's done through our various ways of divisions. We could call a lot of that the patriarchy or the old regime or however we want to think about that. But one of the things I was realizing too is that, the control is so very much done by perception. And so if we take our sovereignty back, if we stand in our own column of light and we stand in our own sovereign column of light, our true self, and we get back to the real simplest basics of like how and who and what we are at the soul level, everything else ultimately will take care of itself. It will. You will be guided. You will do the right things. You will step to the left instead of the right. You will, I don't mean that politically, by the way. You will talk to the person who shows you this thing so you make a bunch of money so that like all the things, that's how it works. And most of you know it, these synchronistic ways of being in alignment. So if we are in alignment in a synchronistic way, more generally, that is because we are holding a frequency that we believe that we hold that as truth. And in your sovereign power, if you are feeling that sovereignty, you won't necessarily feel to be completely plugged into the propagandas of perception. So there's so much out there, and I won't go into one particular topic. I mean, not unless somebody really wants to have a discussion about that. But these things that we're facing, I'm noticing what I'm doing and supporting others to do is to step back and ask yourself what's really true and how do you feel. And the neutral stand that I feel like I most of the time can hold feels so much better than getting so sucked into, corralled into a perception of somebody else's making. And so in my world, I'm having a very okay time overall. I'm having a very okay experience in living this life right now, even though we have so much energy amplified. And so it's like to dial it back, to not go outside too far of your own circle in order to hold your sovereign alignment, which will then keep supporting you in a higher and higher and better and perfect way for your life. So I like this. Holy amethyst, divine alchemy, move beyond current challenges and focus on what you desire. I just, I desire a lot of peace and ease and happiness and love and joy and laughter, right? And we can have that in the present moment. Simple. So I'm not going to talk a lot today myself personally, and I am already feeling the heat of Osairah. So if I get really red, you know why. All right, my friends. I'm going to go in. If you do have questions, you can type them out, and Laura will get to them. If I'm really hoping and assuming that they're going to open questions. So there we go. I'll see you in a bit. Indeed, greetings to you, dear ones. We are that one known as Osairah, and we are, in fact, overjoyed to be in this alignment with you. We are indeed recognizing the conversation, our beloved channel, the way the energy frequencies are beaming, you could say. And we are opening and registering the many lines of connection that we will meet in this moment, in this connection, recognizing the way in which each and every one of you are carrying your particulars. We want to begin the conversation with the idea around your frequencies on this planet at this time. The expansion of light, as we've been talking about for not just this time or this year, as you would say in your timeline, we've been talking about the expansion of light the entire time that we have come forward from and to and with our beloved channel. The connection about that is an amplification upon your earthly realm, the way in which you are actually evolutionarily expanding in consciousness. And that is what is occurring primarily. It does not always feel so comfortable. We know you are in a growth spurt at a kind of a turning point. So one of the things we've said recently to many is that there is a turning of the wheel. You are moving notches up on this wheel of life, you could say, in the evolution of humankind and earth, and the ways in which there is an expansion that is necessary and needed. The word. We are recognizing, as it is said, your month that you are in this timeline, and the ways in this receiving is July, as you would say, and this amplification of July's energy, as you could say, the month of the frequencies, that the light and the expression of the way that is going to transform humanity, people, advance you all in many ways. Though what many are perceiving is the word, a kind of pullback, a tie down, a restrictions. That's a good word. The restrictions through The word is to, how you would see an authority. There it is. Authorities creating seeming restrictions. The seeming energy around frustrations and more rightedness than others. That is another form of the way in which this energy is actually expanding you all. There are people on this planet at this time that need to have their own reality open wider, expand their consciousness, literally learn new things. And that is an important part of your evolutionary jumps in time. And so when we are witnessing this at this time, it is not that we are here to, you could say, give you prophetic insights or tell you what's going to happen. First and foremost, we must remind you that you do indeed live in the world of the third reality or dimension experience where you are having and do have the choosing affect. You have this, what is considered, said, will, power, will, choice, free will. Now, when we are recognizing to talk about that, we have always said you are the choosers. You are human choosers. You have the will to choose and freely choose. You are the ways in which your energetic signature decides and comes into the alignment for the purposes of the higher expansion of that evolutionary growth that the soul does want. And so we don't have the ability to say to you, this will absolutely be, and this won't absolutely be, and this will absolutely be. That's not what we're here to do, never have been, wanting you to realize that it is in your own heart, soul, and the alignments for the reasons why you've come, for you to, drill down into your truth. Drill down into what it is that really authentically, absolutely aligns to the higher purposes for your soul's being, why you are in a physical body. Now, in a physical body, you have the opportunity to be the greater expansion than you have before when you are remembering it all. Why? Because you can manifest and creation and manifest in the physical form is very, very different in the third dimensional reality of which you are living. Now, we are referring to third dimensional reality because it's a frequency kind of idea. Now we're saying it like this with certain languaging because we don't want to box anyone into a belief system. Now here's where we're going to get a little interesting with you all today. The conversations that we have with our human friends at times are wanting to peg down information in order to be more right than others. We won't even try to do that. We don't try to do that. We don't language our offerings and our teachings in that way because you are all here in collaboration with your highest version of self in this lifetime, physically incarnated, offering in the greatest and also receiving the greatest that expands your soul and then moves the plane of existence into new levels of consciousness. So that means that, let us take it like this. Here on this block where our block, that's how it's called, block of street, the word, that our beloved channel is living is many people who live in the houses on the block, right? And in this block, there's not all the people believing in the same kinds of things, not at all. And collectively, they are all adding into the frequency and the energy. And so what we would say is that you are all in a different house of your own beliefs. And we are not here to, there it is, the word, dogmatically give you any beliefs. We are here to offer some of the frequency reminders from a perception of reality as we see it, knowing where you are. And these dogmatic beliefs that sometimes are propagated onto others become a thing that they say is the only way. And we will never say that because we see to say to you all that you are all needed and necessary, that everything, every participation that is occurring in this frequency alignment of the life that you are receiving, how many things is it that goes on in a day of the life you are living that you have zero perception on? The limitations are so incredible, but you don't see that. You believe you're seeing so much, so much, seeing, feeling, knowing so much. And we would like you to spiral that down into the idea of what it is that you can hold in frequency wise, how it is that you can align to the higher light of your own consciousness and really own and look and see about what it is you are feeling, seeing, perceiving. You you are attuning to a grander consciousness in a certain sense by being so plugged into all people. And at the same time, plugged into all people or different circumstances or things around the world, etc. And at the same time, wherever your consciousness is, even while you can plug into the many and the field. And we've taught you that. We've said, please do pay attention. What are you plugging into? At the same time, to bring it down into the simple terms of embodiment as a soul. This reason we are bringing it forward, especially in this particular point of the trajectory of the line of creation. Here's why. The line of creation at this time is making very, the word, amplified frequency connectors. It's like you are, how should we say it? It's like the word. Here it is. We like this. Okay, then. It's like the word, Christmas lights. That's what we're seeing as it is in our beloved channel's vision. Plugging in Christmas light after Christmas light after Christmas light after Christmas light after Christmas light, strings of Christmas lights, right? All over by your connectivity of that which you want to create. And sometimes you have to check on those strings of light. Sometimes one or two will go out and they need to be replaced. That right there, that symbolism right there, that idea that you would have to check some of these strings of light that are connecting all over the planet, billions upon billions upon billions upon billions upon, we would say even trillions, right? You are connecting these lights, and there are at times these ones that may be out. The ones that are out are up for your review. Pay attention to being present with the ones that are out and checking. Do you need to replace that? Will it be okay if you let it go? We hope that is a good enough analogy on the point, but we are going to say these bands of connection that you are plugging into, holding your own, aligning to the future you wish to experience, the ways in which you and soul level have some behind, as we always say, memory of why you have come. One of the things we would say also that is important to focus on, especially in this time frame, meaning this month, slowing down, going into the review of things. Very important, reviewing what you have, what you want, where you are, where it is that you really authentically feel in truest, heartfelt alignments is your place to be, go experience. And also that the purest way to have a purification and then align yourself with the frequencies of what your soul really came here for is to be, in the word, of service to others. In doing so, you notice your own, the word, chunky parts. You notice where, the word, your own sticky parts. Being of service to others while taking care of you, simultaneously creating the boundaries around how it is that you can be of service here as a soul to a higher frequency while staying and being right where you are. For some, that will mean that you literally sit in devotion and being your love to the world. That, we say, is extraordinary. For some of you, you will feel the need to move, to be someone who helps others physically, who maybe gathers things and donates, who goes places and assists, who does something for others, checks on your neighbors, etc., etc., etc. this is a very important time to kind of, the word we're going to use very specifically, to install those programs within yourself. Service to others, how important that is at this time will help you drill down into what it is that most matters to you as a soul. This also, in a certain sense, is karma clear earth. Now, what we mean by that is a big smile, big smile, big smile. It's not to get too hooked on the ideas of good karma and bad karma. We're using these words specifically. We're using karma itself specifically. We are saying this so that you will understand that it's not to do a thing to get rid of your, quote, not good karma. It's to do the thing so that you remember who you really are. And that's what this will do. It parses off, we want to say the words, no, the other words, melts off what is not needed anymore. And you will become, in some days and ways, more aligned to your true nature. And that's what we are saying to you is very important in this time, in this frequency, and in this potentially on different streams of energy in different regions of the earth. Different, the word, volatility, and bringing things up into your face, into the sight for many to see, not because you are just needing to see, quote, more divisions or more bad things or more difficulty, but because you are actually clearing out in a collective way what has been absolutely buried under the rug or in the dungeon, some would say. You've been hiding out, pretending these things haven't been there, and they've been there all the while. So many sensitive people have been seeing it, feeling it, knowing it, witnessing it for many, many years, long time. And the ways in which the collective could not get to anything other than what it took to be here now. And so we want to simplify as much as possible this day, this way that we can give you the touchstones and the keys to your own locks at times. That it is at this time that your earthly experience is going to begin to show you that there is a clearing out in an extraordinary way. When we say extraordinary, we'd also link that to extremes. There will be some extremes that people will feel and see, not everyone. And that goes back to the beginning of our conversation. You are all here serving your own highest souls evolving, but you also came in an agreement for what is occurring at this time. Depending upon who and how and what your path has been and where you stand this day, you are recognizing how it is that it is so important to align to these higher vibrational frequencies. That doesn't mean you're above anyone else. It means you are true to yourself. And that doesn't mean you negate others. It actually means you empower yourself to be of service to others more. That is what actually occurs. Now, there are some, the word, vestiges of egoic stands that sometimes will come up at this time too, that will want to say, but I want X, Y, and Z. I want to feel this. I want to be this way. And that is fair. But we want to say to you, at the same time, do not rush, especially at this time on the planet. Especially, we would say, with a big smile and loving heart, the way that we can see you all sometimes antsy and wanting to make things better, or wanting to make big decisions, or make a determination of what seems to be the way that I will feel more peace, I will feel more ease, I will be better if. We want to say to you all who might be feeling that, especially at this time, maybe especially during this month, remember our words. Pause. Remember our words. Don't push. Remember our words. Just wait. Stand back. Observe a little bit more. Witness a little bit more. Get through this month, we would say, a little bit longer before you make any determinations. And we will plug back in with you to remind you whether or not it is a right or time in that next cycle we will be speaking to you. Now, we do this in a way where we're not saying in particular there's this or that going to happen, but the reason why we're saying this to you is because you will hear us. You will hear us when you are going to make a decision. when you are pushing maybe, and you know you need to step back, but your ego doesn't want to step back because your ego wants to know all is well. And if I just do this, maybe I will feel better. And there's a very good line of frequency wrapped around that. So we say pause. You could make those decisions and it might not be the higher decision for your life. So we're saying in this month, especially if you do not have to make big, if you do not have to make big decisions, just pause and just watch the life as you are seeing it unfold. Just pay attention to your most immediate environment. Your most immediate environment is you. It's not even the house you live in or the neighborhood you live in, though we know sometimes that is an important push or an important piece to pay attention to. But we would say, what is really happening within you? Can you get into the center of your own being and add in the calm, add in the peace, add in the allowance that your wisdom key codes are awake and alive and well within you. And especially when you get into the presence, into the present moment, really and truly aligns you to the higher light. Most people are living extraordinarily from a kind of place within their head. They're reacting all the time. Now, we're not saying that all of you are doing that all of the time, but we would notice that sometimes you are. So we would say to you, we'd like you to notice the word. We are particular this day. The 12 of us that is streaming forward this day, we are energetically aligned with very strong principalities, we could say, in the frequency of that which you want to create on the earth. So what do we mean by that? Many people are transitioning through these densities and these, frequencies that are happening upon your earth, the ways in which consciousness is elevating and some conscious is seemingly not. This is all a perfection. The way we want to say is almost like the perfect storm, and it's necessary, and it will clear out what needs to not stay. So if you can trust that, and we are being direct, trust that there is a perfection, there is a divine right perfection occurring here. And that the way you energetically are adding into the pot of your creation will be the repercussions of that which you receive. It is, as a very simple as said, the word, that which you sow, you shall reap. So where do you stand with what you are sowing? We are going to particularly drop that in with our beloved channel 2. Here is why. We paused with that to amplify that in her consciousness, to literally light up her body and her cells, the way that we could say to you, we are doing with you all too. Because the way that you hold your energy in this month of time is a strong indicator of a creation. If you could say the way we are saying, it's like a creation matrix of how you're walking through a particular portal of energy, and how you do that will land you or bring you to the other side in a way where you feel more capable and more sturdy and more confident, or not so much. And we want you, that's why we keep saying to you, pause, step back, observe. Don't take any real big choices or real big actions right now. Let things move on the subatomic particle level, you could say. Let that portal, before you walk through it, do its final frequency adjustments before and when you feel ready, you walk through it. We hope this is making some sense to you of what we are meaning. Now, when we said to you, being of service to others is a very important part of that. It is because what we would say to you is, how often over all these years of conversations, we have been pointing in various ways in regards to judgment and forgiveness. How often we have said to you that if you see something in someone else, that you might want to remember that it's probable and possible that is either there in you or you are running from it, or it could potentially be there in you under the right circumstances. So that the mirror is really this reality you are participating in. You are drawing to you the experiences that are necessary for the higher aspects of your growth to come forward and anchor into this life. We've been saying that all along in 10,000 or more different ways. And we want to say again at this time, your alignment to the oneness. It's that important. We want you to understand, to be in a kind of registration, understanding that your devotional connection, the way that you are saying to the world, to the earth, to every invisible particle of life that is happening upon this planet that you can and cannot see, the ways in which you have felt, the long-standing thousands potentially of past lifetimes or even future lifetimes you may feel, know, see, and sense. This time on this planet is amplifying to create worlds, not just one. It is a oneness world of creation, but it is not one seamless world. And that's where this is tricky business in our conversations. You are all, as we said and have said so many times, having a different experience. You can come together, but be in vastly different experiences. It's so often seen in a simple way as this. You could be with someone and not know at all what they are truly thinking and feeling. They may show you some things, but it takes something sort of extraordinary to really be in a synchronized, true-hearted, absolute, real and authentic way with someone. What does it take when someone is truly in their authenticity, in a kind of devotional way where all masks and all barriers and all facades and all filters and all blocks are dropped? To be authentically open and available and in light and enlightened with God consciousness, with love consciousness, with that force of creation takes a whole lot. So you may be very close to someone, you may know your children to a certain extent, but you do not know what another soul is here doing, being, or expressing. You have no idea, no matter what another soul is being, doing, or expressing, what they are here for at a higher level, at a deeper, wider, connective level. It may appear as if they are, quote, the villain in the movie. And quite often it is the villain who makes the greatest sacrifice to come in and illuminate more for many. This so often is happening right before your very eyes. So isn't it an interesting thing to consider that maybe all that is showing you is what is showing that needs its love, and that no matter who is doing what or saying what or acting like what, that instead you can go into that in a deeper way, in a devotional way, in a higher law of one way that would offer this reflection of how may I serve to see this in a greater expanse? How may I not worry so much about my own smallness, though that is a very real thing. We're not discounting it. But it is also this egoic fight or flight response to keeping you alive. When you face these words regarding death, when you face that you may have tomorrow, but you may not, and you really digest that, if you really digest that and assimilate that, you just might not have tomorrow or next year or 5 years from now, that you can then live in your power. You can come into love in the most powerful way. That is not a forceful way we mean power in the way that there is no holds barred. There is no filter. There is no masks. There are no buffers between you, because love becomes the consciousness that is oozing from you. Love and light and devotion and willingness and openness and kindness and offerings and service become what it is that you be. And in being that, it changes the frequency. It changes those around you. We are the word. Aware of the idea that it could be like this, dear ones, to be in potentially in harm's way. You are walking down a street and potentially in harm's way, there could be something that would come at you, someone who would come at you with a malintent. And there's a softening. And instead, unequivocal ways of loving come through you. Literally, no fear is emanated. Zero fear. Absolute love and surrender comes through your being. And what that does, truly from the heart of purity, is that illuminates the light of your body consciousness, of your beingness. You radiate, you become different. And that one that was maybe there or coming at you with a malintent for harm or any other will melt. It will change. It will soften the experience. That one would see you in a different way. There would be love that would come through the words, the sounds, the connection, and there would be a shift. Because we're not saying go out and try this. We're just saying that that is a potential of what we're trying to show you as a visual response of how the world can and does respond. You won't even be led into those places, but if you are, this would come over you. Now, that is more on the level of an example of how we're trying to show you that the practices and the ways of being present in devotional love, in the ways in which you say and declare and claim that you are a part of a higher light on this planet. You are here as an angelic presence, if you will, a higher order of the willingness to serve, for you are unconcerned with, in a sense, the small egoic self that only wants for themselves. This changes your connection. This changes your equilibrium, connection. We're finding the words. This changes your frequency, and you become changed because of it. That energy shifts your body. You make devotions to the things you will do, be, offer time to. It does not become only about self-service. And this is where we think there is a divisional line. Look about this incredible earthly experience at this time and see those who are in devotion for the selflessness and the service to others. This is a determiner of your choice of frequencies. And where you feel and attune to, I'm only in it for myself, or they're only in it for themselves, or I'm all about this because I need that. These frequencies will be the kinds of definers of the creation reality that you are moving into. We hope that makes sense, because what we are saying is this is a very specific way that we're trying to show you, teach you, align you with how it is you set up a higher frequency of light for you to live on this planet. It's like how we would say the word, our human friends say, how do I choose the word, a higher timeline? I don't want to be in the old earth. Some of our friends say, we say this is the way. You be in true selfless service. You be in remembering that there is no death. You remember you have a higher order and a life that you have come to be a part of mystical, magical creations upon this earth. And how you do that can be just with a smile. How you do that can be with just an energetic hug. How you do that can be an active way that you claim and declare, and then that booms out into the world around you. And then that booming out connects you to the frequencies that move you in the right divine order. And then again, you'll see and remember that not all beings are going to know this. They're not going to be doing this. And that is all divine right too. All of the places and the people that are participating on this earth are doing, in a certain sense, what we would say to a certain extent is the very best that they can do. And there are those who are really choosing these different dimensional frequencies, these higher ways of consciousness. And that doesn't mean we're saying the word, we understand. Okay. One of the things we're seeing with that is how it could be that we see to say, oh, it's so high over here, and that if you're doing that is so low. No, that is not actually what we're saying. What we are saying is that there is everything here, and you are an autonomous chooser of your experience and no one else's. Really and truly, the more you make the choices for your highest road, the more that radiates out into the world, and others potentially pick up on those that you are adding into the field, and they too can do the same. But you can never make anyone really do anything. That's what is going on here. There is so much of that going on here. To be corralling people into an experience is not really going to give the greatest experience, no matter what that experience is. That's why we say, choose for yourself the highest road. Choose for yourself the highest light. Really plug into the stream of consciousness that you are available to at this time, and then stretch a little bit more, and practice a little bit more, and devote a little bit more, and really plug into and be grateful for this earth, grateful for the light frequency on this earth, grateful to be here at this time on this planet. It is extraordinary. Plug in with sensitivity to your highest nature. Plug into your highest consciousness, and don't expect another to do what you do, yet offer in selfless service that you are doing it, and therefore you're offering it to many. Don't expect, just be it, and that radiates something far greater than any corralling or convincing or preaching upon anybody that you would do. These are our offerings this day. And we have so many other pieces of this these wisdom key codes that are flying in and onto your planet through other dimensional frequencies, other dimensional consciousnesses. And we want to say, some of you would say, well, is the light winning? And we will tell you yes. And yet you are still going through. Please remember, we have used it many times, and we say you are pushing into a new world. You are birthing a new reality. You are owning new codes and ways of being. You are bringing in new streams of consciousness, and it is going to shape and change this earth. And so, as we have said before, these times where there has been these age changes, age changes, you could say, you have energetically shifted into a new frequency. Absolutely true. And you are continuing to birth through this kind of a dark tunnel still. Yes, the birth canal, you could say, some would say, some are saying. And we would say to you, yes, you are going through there's a lot of labor pains. You are going through a lot of sweating and purification. You are getting stuff out. You are letting go, releasing as you are processing through this time. And you are paving the way for yourself, really. Ultimately, you are paving your way for yourself, for you stand in the future and you know where you stand. You remember, you hold that, you have that. It's a part of your frequency. It is a part of the past frequencies. You are energetically here in this now moment, and it is magnificent. So being this warrior of light, this rememberer of the higher order of light, is a frequency that we would say to do, to be, to remember, to practice, to offer, to give, to shine, to share, to dream about, to meditate upon, to focus on, to write about, to give, to offer. This is the way you transform the world. You are holding it as yourself. You are literally the anchors of light. So we offer all of this at this moment, and at the same time, we are excited and wondering if there is anyone here who has a question for us that we can begin on. We will see how far we get along with that. If there are any, we will begin.
Hi, Osairah. This is Laura.
Greetings, Laura.
Greetings. So far, we don't have any questions. We can wait just a moment. Or if there's anywhere you want to take this for something brief while we wait for the questions to start coming in.
Let us pause and see which direction. Okay, then. For some of you, we are going to acknowledge there's been difficulty in the physical bodies. So we want to acknowledge this. We want to support you in the remembrance of you have the power even to create and remember who you are in the temple that you are carrying. That it is so often the physiological, psychological connections that are you have more power over, but you abdicate that power. You willingly say, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I can't do this. I don't do this. You become codependent. You become the word addicted to distractions. You become overwhelmed psychologically. There is not the purity of mind and heart. Now, we're not saying this in a blaming way. We are saying it in a, there it is way. We're just saying it. If it fits, put it on. See how it feels. Now, when we talk about the temple experience of your body consciousness, you have so much more loving ability to transform if you put the attention there. And there's key. Majority of people don't put the attention on their physical health or well-being, their emotional health or well-being, because it is so much easier to plug into the needed things outside of yourself. So there are many people right now who are feeling not healthy in the physical body, energetically exhausted all the time. We would say there is a lot of actual light coming to the planet, and there is a lot of old energies stirring up. And for those of you, so many of you, all of you, have been here, if not hundreds of thousands of times. There's that energy signature that you're aware of on some level that you're facing and that you're clearing in this body. So some of you are opting out. You don't want to do that much work. We would say, do it. Really commit to that. Drink more water, eat more healthy foods, really get rid of the things that don't serve your body. Go through that detox process, if you will, that is stagnating you. Go through that is uncomfortable. Go through that purging or sweating or clearing or moving your body in a new way, contrary to what you thought you could do. Why? Because this is necessary. It will enlighten you. It will liberate energies. It will clear our old karmas. You're holding on so many different ways, not just in the spirit way, not in just the soul way, the physicality, your embodiment. You will be clearer vessels of light. You will have higher abilities of consciousness, meaning you can see, feel, hear, know in a different way. You can sense yes, no, yes, no. You'll be able to intuit at a higher degree, plug into the higher realms at a much more real frequency basis. And then you will learn to trust yourself even more, because it is through commitment of these kinds of ways with the physical creation, your body consciousness. When you commit that much to loving who you are in a physical way, you trust yourself more. When you show yourself, you can stay with it and not let those old, smaller self parts of you hold on the ropes and drive the car off the cliff, really. Take back the car, take back the automobile and say, nope, I commit. Let's turn down this road and let's stop for a while in the countryside. Let's not drive it on the freeway for the next 15 years, hardcore, or even 5 months or 5 minutes. Pause, bring yourself back. Remember who you are, how you love this body, how grateful you can be for the body that this soul is imbibed in, so that you can operate from a higher consciousness. That's a piece that we would say we need to drop in for some of our human friends we can see are suffering in judgment, suffering also in a choice, and suffering is a choice, but we will say suffering in the choice of judgment on the body, and also the word, suffering in the word, actual physical, stagnations, It's not just the word, there it is. We're going to go ahead. It's not just the word, what seems to be a virus that you are facing in the physical body. You're facing yourselves in the physical body. This is bringing your health and wellness to the forefront. This is being a manifestation of asking yourself, what is it that really matters to me? How am I throwing this beautiful body away and not being grateful? And we say these things directly in that way so that you hear it. And we would like you to flip the switch. How can I love this body more? How can I be in perfect harmony and alignment with this body in a better way? Just 1 minute, 1 day, 1 hour at a time. Checking in with what the body really wants and needs. What is it really saying? How has it been ignored? What does it need? Most of the time it needs more rest. Some of the time it needs more actual movement and stretching and alignment to love and light and prayer. These things for so many are thrown off the table because survival takes the forefront and money making takes the forefront. Or, we'll give a big smile for this one, stress takes on the forefront. And you say, oh, I'm so addicted to stress. You don't know you're saying that, but you are. You'd rather be addicted to your stress and the ways that you cope with your stress than you would to be in loving gratitude for being in this body that is unto itself a universe, vibrating. The cells, the consciousness, the blood is alive and well and has its own awareness. Tap into that. Love this body. Put your feet on the earth and feel your mother supporting you. These are very simple ways that the majority of you get lost in your head about, and you forget to really plug in on a daily basis to what is the true amounts of food? What is it that is the most healthy for me to eat right now? How much sleep am I really getting? Do I need a nap? Where is the nearest water that I can swim in? How can I run, stretch, or smile more? Most of you at times on this planet, not all of you on this call, we will say, but we would say that the word, so many people are absolutely living in their heads. And it is in your heart that you connect to the spirit and the soul and the ways in which your body will respond in a higher frequency way. That's what we will say there. Wondering if there is any questions now.
Yes, we do have a few questions. So let's start with Anne's question. She's just asking how we can connect to you and your energy in our daily lives.
Thank you, Anne. All that is, as we've said before, it's a kind of a prayerful concentration. You may call us near. We have always said to our human friends, when you meditate, when you pray, you can say the various ways, especially when you meditate, you just calm your body, mind, consciousness. You sit yourself down, be it in nature or in your room, in your house, however that is. Or before you go to sleep, we often say too, it's a wonderful way because we can enter in a certain sense to your spirit, the connection, the vibration. And you just simply call that which we are, Osairah. And you say, I call forward you to pay attention with me, help me, that you would say, to vibrate with you. And there will be us. We are in all time, all space, in preparations for your homecoming. And what we mean by that is any time you call us forward, we are there. This is not we are not in limitation here. And we would say to you this also, remember, we are just in this moment, 12 particulars coming through as the home house name of Osairah. We are essentially it's like a body consciousness of souls, you could say, who have ascended through, and some who have not even participated on the earthly realm, but yet know how it is to be what it is you are doing through the ways of incarnation, many of us, but not all of us. And we are thousands, we are many. And so when you call forward that we are there, we are with you. This is a similar connection to how it is that when we shared the story with many about our beloved channel, that then we were surrounding her automobile and she actually could see us for the first time after pretty much 15 years, 10, 14, we're not certain, years of time where we have been there and we have shown her us, but we really made it apparent. You can consider us like angelic helpers, absolutely of the highest order. We are here with you that way. So connecting with us in meditation is so helpful. You will be able to recognize our countenance, the way we speak, the syntax, the way that we are connecting in your thought forms, and the way that we feel around you. We are most loving. We are true. We are of the higher order of love and light, love, light consciousness. We are that, and that is how we would say best. We are everywhere.
Thank you so much. And we're all enjoying that you seem to be answering everyone's questions before they're even asked out loud. So I will just follow up with this question from Bruce. What kind of meditation is seen as preference, guided or quiet?
And we all have always taught or shown or offered to our human friends that it is truly what is the most right for you at any given time, because that is, you are an ever evolving consciousness. So sometimes guided is really important for you. Sometimes it is the stillness and the quiet. Sometimes it is a walking meditation. Sometimes it is sitting in nature and literally feeling life come through you. Sometimes it is absolutely before you go to bed, in those moments in that time where you drift off, and there's profound wisdom that can be dropped in and anchored into your consciousness and body. So we do and have said that it is what we would often say is never a fixed way. We are not rigid. We want to say rigid. Maybe that's right. We are not rigid in those ways of having to do a certain thing, although that worked for many frequencies, many timelines, many different worlds, you could say. When we mean that, we could say you could go back to 2,000 years ago and the frequencies were different and the practices were different and the field was different. Go back 200 years ago and the same. It was different. There were many different frequencies happening. Now it's different too. So you're working with where you are in a consciousness fluidity of the soul expansion that you are. If you, Bruce, offered yourself to go sit on a mountaintop for the next 10 years in a log cabin that you built and you meditated every day, that would be what your soul called for. If you sit in the center of the city while there is so much going on in your house or apartment, and you stay in your house or apartment and you just do your life very simply and basically, and you expand, but you are doing the same thing as you were doing on the mountaintop, only you're doing it in the city, then that is what's calling you. And either one is not better than the other. Now, we will also say this. We do and often direct our human friends to sit in stillness, quiet, not having a goal. There you go. Not having a goal about meditation. Opening to the highest of the soul, of the love of your own beingness, connecting to the oneness of consciousness, connecting to love, love, light. Being in that frequency amplifies your body consciousness, and you begin to awaken that much more. But it is that you will naturally, as this body beingness, as this way that you are, you will shift. And sometimes you will, as some say, drop out. Some call that the gap, the void, the stillness. You will notice potentially only later that there was no thought. That sometimes has been the idea of the goal. We would say, don't try for a goal, but still just begin to go inside and witness and listen. Very often, it is the witnessing that is such the greatest teacher. It is to witness your own thoughts, your own, as they say, monkey mind. It is that when you move through that in its stages, you come to your purity. And the purity is like, we would say, the light of God. It is like The word, the word, the word. The purity that you come to through the layers of that which is not you, which is the monkey mind, which is the distractions, which is the looking outward. You distill all that down into the silence within. And there is a sweetness, a purity, and a refuge. And that we would say is the light of God. You could say that is the awareness of all that is. And sometimes that sounds and seems like silence. But it is the place where the ineffable love is. And you begin to remember. And that is where insight, guidance, and awareness just lays in at your feet, in your body, in your mind, and in your heart. And it's like the key is turned and you remember who you are, why you are, and what you are. You remember that there is no separation. That is not a remembering from the mind. It is a remember from the essence of you. That is where you're wanting to go. But that's not a road you can get on. It's an unveiling through the willingness to sit within and witness and love and be open. We hope that helps.
Thank you. And this next question is from Sandy. I hope I'm going to ask this okay with how it's been phrased. Curious if I understand that holding the love within will be most help for our new world coming. And also being in the place of old ways to new ways, just go inside to neutralize and be.
So, second half, we would simply say yes. First half, we would also say yes. It is in order for the world of love and unity. We are going to use that because it is a time of realizing how the word separation has been the chief operating system. The body-mind complex has been believing for so long in its evolving the soul, the consciousness of that which you are, and the totality of all that is, God knowing itself as God, has believed in separation when you come into the physical form. And so in order for the unity consciousness, which is really the new world that you are the incredible bearers of, you are bearing witness to how it is to birth a new world through your old paradigm, which must fall and something must be reborn. And that is what you are witnessing. So in order to hold that frequency of love and unity, you must be aware of how much separation you have believed in as true. And as you really see that, you begin to open more to truth, more to the love that is the purity of your being, more to there is no separation, more to that I and I are one. This that you see, the experience of what looks like, is a manifestation of the God consciousness that you are. You see this physical body of our beloved channel. And this is an outward and living expression of the consciousness of thousands of lifetimes to get to here, to literally be holding this kind of energetic space. This is not better or worse than anyone else's. It's just the consciousness that has chosen again and again and again to awaken. And that's what you're doing. You are awakening by holding a frequency that love, that unity, that oneness is the truth. And by doing that, you evolve, and we will say, and do dare say, into a new frequency of reality experience in a manifested way that is not the way you see it now. There will be, we want to say it like this. Sometimes we have this choice even about how we delineate and how we dictate and how we speak onto this experience for you all. In some ways, you are dealing with this duality so much that we have to speak in it towards duality. We don't always believe that it is not the word believe. We don't always see it as the rightest way for us to support your evolution by saying you want to go from this duality into non-physical form, and then you'll know it all. Some would call that ascension, where you're going to go from being in the world of duality and form as you see it in the third dimension, where there is much struggle, but it is also a pinnacle opportunity of your growth. You, in what even could be perceived as potentially, if you live 70 years or 100 years of time on this planet, you are put through and given the opportunity for expansion in extraordinary ways. It is an incredible choice you make to come and be human and have evolutionary process. In holding a heart frequency of the life you want, in holding love, in holding unity, in holding oneness, in holding being of service to others in the ways that you can in a lifetime on this planet, does not necessarily say, oh, I'm then going to go and not have a body, and I'm going to ascend to the 5th or the 10th or the however many ways that people are perceiving ascension. That's not what we're saying. We don't think or feel or see that that supports you at the greatest level. What supports you at the greatest level is to be in the body that you are in and expand in the awareness, holding that frequency, remembering who you are, being the light, being the beam of truth. Now, here's the thing. That's not a put on. We've said this many, many times. You cannot put it on. You cannot pretend it. You could try to, but in the heart of the soul of the beingness of the consciousness that you are, unless it is authentic purity, unless it is true, you know it's a lie. So there is a conundrum there with the soul. The soul is here to expand in the greatest potentials while holding a physical body and streaming and being light, remembering you are love, remembering you are all, remembering that you are offering unto this world the wisdom and the love and the key codes of a higher order while being in a physical body. We say we are coming in this way through our beloved channel in order that there is a sort of way that we can transmit that through many of us in this way to reach as many as possible. You do the same thing by remembering who you are, not as a put on, but as the truth. Well, then you would say, I am love. Yes, you are love. Do you believe in separation? Oh, yes, I still believe in separation because I think that person over there is still doing something really wrong by doing that thing. So then you work with that. You heal your own. You look at your own perceptions. You look at your own ways of self-incrimination and judgment onto others. You look at the ways you are holding these frequencies that are consciousness energies that are in some form or fashion your tools for learning, your offering for the greatest expansion while being in a body. This is what we would say is one of the most important parts of creating the new world that you would want to see, is by remembering that the more you be this now, the more that you embody it, more that you really and truly offer your very best in any and all moments. And when you see that you didn't, when you maybe yelled at someone or you did something or you chose something that maybe isn't of the highest order of love or light or this consciousness of the highest potential that you could choose, you make your reparations, you make your amends, and you do better. And you vow to yourself, not to anyone else necessarily, but truly to yourself, because it is you and you. So this is the frequency you hold as love, being willing to hold and frequency-wise connect to your greatest at this time on this planet. And really, that's a big call, because most of the time the egoic construct comes in and says, well, we've done a really great job. Let's just lay down and not do a lot now. Let them do it. Let this happen. And you're foregoing yourself. It is through loving of this self, the consciousness that is here, that one then acts from the truth to be of service to others. It is not because you go, I want to be good. I want to be seen as good. I want entrance into heaven. Therefore, I will do these things for those people or this situation or that there. No, it means I transform this that I am. And what naturally comes to and through and from me is love. I become the greatest I am presence that I can be. I remember my heart, my soul, the higher connections to all that I am. I be that. I remember that. I do the work. I focus on that. I love this that I am. I'm so grateful that I am. I am so grateful that I see what I see outside of myself. And I feel naturally drawn. The natural organic response is to be of service to others. That's what occurs for being the light unto yourself. So it is that you serve this that you are, that serves the world. Being that creates the new order of life. We don't mean in the ways of conspiracy theories. We want to make note of that. We mean the new higher divine order of consciousness that is changing. You are in, and we have said this for years, you are in a revolutionary, evolutionary, cosmic jump in consciousness. That is going to come through people. It is going to come through the consciousness that you unify with others in creating your world, your technologies, the things you agree upon. These are the things that you are going to make manifest in the world. And it may not look like what you thought it would look like. But if you are in the highest degrees of your concentration for love, if you are truly saying love and service to all, because I and I are one, everything out there is that which I see is in here, then you will naturally and organically and authentically, without any pretense, become the oneness. And that changes the world. It's not a mind game. It's a heart, soul, light, love vibration of truth that beams through the organic biology of a human. That's what we say. You do. We hope that helps too, though.
Magnificent. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
This next question is from Armando. On the theme of trusting our knowing more, do you have any suggestions to help us find what is in our highest alignment? And while we won't make this personal right now, Armando is specifically asking about making bigger life decisions, like whether to stay in one location or to move. So if you can speak to that on like a bigger contextual level.
Indeed. In order to trust oneself, we said is a good way, we will return to the idea of how you trust yourself. You build your own self-repertoire of confidence, meaning you do things, you be things, you affirm your own commitments and devotions to yourself. When you let yourself down, when you go against something you committed to and you let yourself off the hook and you say, okay, next week, next month, next year, or you say, okay, not today because I'm too lazy, or you say, I don't care. I said it, I don't care. I'll drink that drink. Whatever it is that you go back upon yourself, your soul, your heart, your beingness, the wise one within you knows, keeps record, pays attention, not in a authoritarian parental way, but in a, oh, okay, that's where he is, that's where she is, and notices that you have gone back on yourself, notices that the lack of devotion is what it is. It's not a judgment, it's just an awareness. Oh, okay, so not quite there to make that full commitment. But that part of you then doesn't come forward the same way it does when you are committed, when you have shown you are trustworthy with yourself. When you go back on yourself, there's an insecurity there. There's an unsuredness on what your convictions are. And so therefore, put in the right proper circumstances, you cannot see that you trust yourself with the right circumstances, you won't trust yourself because you've kind of went back on yourself over here. So you haven't built up that sort of confirmation of the love and devotion you have for yourself. That is the first place we say that learning to trust yourself is imperative. Your commitments to yourself become the commitments that show up in the world as devotion and love so that you can trust your choices in the world. Many of our human friends don't make those choices in the world, don't know how to take a move, don't know how to listen when it's time to go, when it's time to stay, if this is the right job or if that's the right job. There's all of that energy going back and forth, all around insecurity, because the wisdom key codes of trusting yourself are not anchored deeply. And we say that from our vantage point, one of the most important things that you can do for that is to make commitments to yourself and lovingly support them. It doesn't mean being a dictator. It doesn't mean being a sergeant upon yourself. Okay, this way and no way other way, being this way or the highway. None of that. What we're saying is lovingly commit and lovingly support. It's okay to say, okay, I messed up that day. I get back up on there and I devote and I connect and I commit. Whatever those things are, that you know on a certain level, you go back on yourself. You don't stay in alignment with whatever it is. Let's just use the idea of meditation. You say, I'm going to meditate every day. And I'm going to we're going to give you a do and a don't. I'm going to meditate every day. And we'll say, I'm not going to have a candy bar every day, because maybe you've been having a candy bar. Whatever, we're giving that as the idea, right? And so you go along and you do really well, 3-4 days. But then on the 5th day, maybe you don't meditate, but then you go back and you meditate the next day. That's all. You make reparations by committing again to yourself. You lovingly say, okay, I didn't. I go back. 3 days later, you eat a candy bar. The next day you eat 2 candy bars. Instead of beating yourself up, you lovingly say, I recommit to you because I see how this pattern is where I don't recommit to you, where I get on you. Now, it sounds very simple, but the reason why we're pointing it out like this is because those kinds of things in the physical, the way that you devote to your own self, are really important about trusting yourself. The word. We're going to say it like this also. Very good one. Here it is. It's coming. Our beloved Channel said to her daughter, you will feel more esteem if you do the esteemable acts. Esteemable acts upon yourself make you trust yourself and love yourself more. Hand in hand, those things help you trust your intuition, know your internal guidance, listen to your soul. Listen to your heart. Instead of all the other inputs and all the monkey mind, you'll be able to hear clearly your line of conviction and commitment. You'll be able to know, I'm supposed to not stay in the city. It's time for me to go. I want to go here. You'll just feel it. You'll be guided. The synchronicities line up. This is what we mean when we say that you're trusting yourself is what opens the door for your spirit to guide you in the highest and best ways. The distinction we know can be tricky for our human friends. You could say, well, I trusted myself and then I ended up in this. We're not saying that every single thing is going to be rosy because you trusted yourself. You have lessons, you are learning, you are expanding. Can you turn everything that experience you have, every opportunity of experience you have, into a greater lesson, into a greater understanding, into not self-beating up, but saying, oh, wow, what lesson is here that I made this choice and I'm not so much liking it, because that can happen. It doesn't mean that because you've chosen to really trust yourself and listen on the inside, you make a choice that doesn't give you something else to grow with. We hope that makes sense. We really hope that makes sense.
Thank you. This next question is from Suzanne, what's the best way to transmute negative energy?
So negative energy begins in the thinking most of the time. The thinking, the thoughts, the energetic revving up the engine on things that one doesn't like, doesn't want, doesn't align to. So we would say you become firstly aware. Now, if we are talking about energies that seem to be outside of yourself, even that is in a certain sense an attraction to a vibration that's within. So it comes back to you and you. Purify. And we say there's all kinds of ways to rid yourself, to purify self of negative energies, negative thought forms. Those negative concentrations tend to attract other energies of the same frequency, right? So it is so seen by so many people. Our beloved channel has had this many times too over the course of her life, of course, and it's always a good example. That you can be in a really bad mood. You could have fought with your boss, or you have argument with your lover, or your children were not cooperating and you are angry, frustrated, and annoyed. Or maybe you just woke up in a bad state one day. Maybe it is you wake up in a bad state one day and you get into the car and you had the fight with your family member and you get into the car and you're just, and then what happens? You back into someone in a parking lot. This is a frequency vibration of energy that is matching your frequency within. So in order to not have those kinds of frequencies on the outside match, and also to relieve how basically miserable it can feel to be in a negative state within, it purifying your thoughts. Recognize what you are thinking about. That's why we say going to meditation. We don't care if it's a walking meditation in your neighborhood, around a track, in nature, on the beach, sitting in nature, in silence in your home, however it is that you feel in connection, that you can witness your own thinking, because that's where it starts. Most of the time, you are plugging into things outside of you that are matching the things inside of you. So on a certain level, if there's energy that seems to be negative in your life or environment, or a point of attraction on any level, check your thinking. Check where it is that you're focusing your attention. What are the round and round and round and round thoughts? We gave this to our beloved channel many years ago to point out, to teach her so that she could teach others, that you pay attention to what you're thinking about in the background pretty much all the time. You may notice it just sitting there over there on the back of the back of the back of the back. You might notice that you're thinking, God, it's always so gray out. I don't like it. I hate this weather. 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 Well, let us tell you, you can probably see that by that example. Whatever is behind, it is a primary thought going around and around and around on a loop, is going to bring in a frequency, and it's going to feel, if it's something like that, like negative energy. Your thought forms begin to manifest in creation, backed up by emotion. So you have to check your emotions. What are you focusing on? What are you giving attention to? Where is your emotional life? Are you actually feeling very miserable all the time, but not acknowledging it? And then in the back of the mind, thinking, well, see, I never win. I don't get anything. Nobody likes me. I hate this job. I don't make enough money. I hate this job. I hate this job. Whatever it is, I hate my husband. These various things that people think. And they're thinking about that in the kind of unconscious mind. And yet their emotion is driving it. That makes manifest in the world. So you have to pay attention to your emotions. And if you are having heavy and dense, sad, all of that is not to say you try to get rid of it. You go to it. You attend to it. You attend to it the way you would attend to someone who is in the bed and saying, I feel awful. Well, if you love that person, you come and say, what can I do for you? Would you like some water? Do you need a massage? Do you need to go outside? What can I give you? What do you need? Do you need some fruit? These things that you would do to tend to, you tend to yourself with those emotions. Because if you tend to your emotions, You will feel through the process of what is up. You will not negate them. And that, if by negating what you are feeling, you are plugging into the unconscious mind of the things that you are not liking. And so this is what we would say to you is a helpful storyline, or a way to put it all out there for you to see that personal responsibility is absolutely key for negative emotions. We're not saying, sure, sometimes things happen. Sometimes people come at you. Sometimes someone else's negative day is going to crash into your car. You see what we're saying? And how do you handle that? How do you handle it if you're, let's see if we can see something. We'll say, how do you handle it if you are at a restaurant and your server is not nice, is really quite not nice, however that would be? Do you match that, or do you deal with that in a different way? It's not to say that one is righter than the other. What makes you feel better is our question. How is it that negative energy impacts you? Is it stick like glue? Then there's something for you to work with there. And so we would say, check your emotions, and then check your running thoughts on a daily basis. See what I am feeling on a regular basis. Also, a way to do that, as we said before, is to get really still, to get quiet and witness. What is the recurring thoughts? What is it that's coming and going on the screen of your awareness? Just pay attention. Don't judge it. Just notice, because you have the power to change that. You are the emotional driver. And as you emotionally drive thoughts, they create reality. That's what we would say. Is there
Thank
one more?
you.
Mm-hmm.
There is one more question. I was
Perfect.
just going to ask that. This question is from Carrie. Are there other worlds the oneness and ascension are complete? Do we get to rest there during other lifetimes? Why is there so much work to do for the ascension of this particular world?
Mm-hmm. A couple of questions in there. So we would say, is there other worlds that, would you go back to that, dear one?
Sure.
At the beginning.
Are there other worlds the oneness and ascension are complete?
Yes. Yes, yes, and yes. And how we would say that is in the conversation around ascension. That is essentially what you are ascending in the process of. So you are moving through how we would consider to call it densities within dimensional frequencies. So dimensions, you would say you were born into the third dimensional earth. And the third dimensional earth at this time in this last many years have been going through an ascension process. And you are and chose to be here at this time so that your soul can go through the highest order of learning in this dimensional frequency, at the density that your soul is at. As you evolve in that, it's like it's like a social memory complex of understanding in different realms, as we describe them. Some would say densities. We say densities or realms are similar in frequency. There's a sort of place where you understand where you are. Then you can see how far you've come, you could say. In evolution, you could say the spirit or the soul, the memory complex of being, is seeing and remembering itself as the evolving that it has done, and then knows where it stands in the next round of ascension processes. So you could say you do come to another, you leave the body, let's say, and you come to the awareness. There it is. I did that. I got that. I remembered that. Oh, I held that frequency. Oh, I didn't quite get that piece. I would like to go in and get that more. I would like to go in about personal responsibility a little bit more and non-judgment. I want to do that so that I can expand into the greatest opportunity of love. You see where you are as the potentials for this kind of leaping into new frequencies and densities. Some would call that dimensions as well. But here's the difference. In a dimensional frequency, you are you have gone to the density. You have gone to, in dimensions, there's density. If you go into the, let's say, the fourth dimension, there are beings who are here. They're labeling it, the fourth dimension is like astral. There are beings who are here holding a fourth dimensional frequency right now. But they're not astral, but they are carrying an energy that is different than density of third. When you move into fifth dimensional consciousness, you are energetically lighter. You can still potentially even have a body. Now, there are conflicts with this idea. People believe that there are people who, when you have the fifth dimensional consciousness, this is why we don't prefer to talk about dimensions at this time, but that's more in an advanced place. But we would say to you, you can move into fifth dimensional consciousness while holding a body, but that's not the same as density. The density is a frequency of being able to hold light. When you move into this kind of accelerated dimensional and density consciousness, your soul has to have gone through evolving, basically. And that comes back to what we said earlier in regards to the living love light consciousness, to being of service. This is a service to others is an incredible and important piece, but it begins with you. Most of our human friends are still very much working on how to be with themselves. This is the collective agreement here at this time. You are learning to be of service to others. Yes, it is not selfless completely unless you have transformed what is happening within here completely. And most people are still working very much here, and there's not a judgment on that. That doesn't matter. So can you understand your own process and have a bit of a respite in between? Yes. Because that's where you make determinations on the kind of experience you're going to come in and have again in the physical incarnations. Now, when you talk about densities and dimensions in other ways in regards to other lifetimes, or what the earth is evolving to and what you would call the future timelines, well, that's where we stand, dear ones. You could understand us at the 6th, the 7th, the 11th, the 10th. We are in different dimensional frequencies, unified in the oneness of consciousness. What we would say is there is one-mindedness in our agreements, holding our own densities and dimensional awarenesses for what we have transformed through, what we have evolved through. And we say we because there is a oneness, there is an I presence, the one I am presence. And that means also that it looks like, and here's the tricky bit, that there are different beingnesses, different lights called Osairah, just like we said. There are many, how do we express that? There are many dimensional frequencies of this. There are your masters. There are the angelics. There are the seraphim. There are the different ways of God's consciousness to have the expression of knowing itself in all time and all space as you would understand it on your timeline. We are linked. There is no separation. It's like the word. It's like having a computer chip where you connect to everything in all time and all space. For most human beings, that just seems to be utterly insane. But it is when there is such distortion here, where there is the I am presence is fragmented and still trying to remember its wholeness. And that's what many souls are doing. Boy, we hope that has landed correctly. Does that lead to anything else, just because we think that's a very big topic? Yes?
Carrie, if there's anything you want to add or follow up with, please follow up.
We think that there's so much here that we have given this day. We love all these questions.
Nope, Carrie says thank you.
That was a lot. Let it settle, let it sit. But yes, we would say that your focus and the heart space of remembering your oneness, that there is no distinction of separation, although it so much appears to be that, and that your respite, your sanctuary, is not necessarily when you leave the body. There is an awareness that is so all-consuming that you remember the gift in being in a body. When you do not have the body, you realize what you were doing for the body. You realize why you came into the beingness of walking through the ascension process. This is extraordinary to be in a physical incarnation. It is extraordinary to be able to participate with love as light manifested in this reality experience. And you are bringing yourself to a greater and greater and greater awareness of that right here where you are, and plugging that into all that are remembering that here too. And that is what we would say. It's like the rocket ship to the new world. That's what you are wanting. That's what you are doing. You are remembering who you really are while being in a body. That's the most difficult part, we would say. For some of our human friends who think that it's going to be better if they're just not here, we would say, oh, please just take what is here and love it. Be grateful for it. Change the things you can change. Offer the love that you can love. It is by holding on to the kinds of things of unforgiveness, resentment, worry, doubt, insecurity, fear, mine, I can't have, I don't get, I'm not loved. All of these things need to be loved, embraced, and healed, looked at, and had revealed for what they really are, which is not the truth. The truth is that you are eternally loved. You are eternally taken care of. Though we know certain circumstances and life's experiences bring you not that. And so in those opportunities where life has brought you not that love, not that all-inclusiveness, not that health, wealth, and prosperity, and joy, and peace, and harmony, and safety, those things are brought to you for your transformation. We know that that can really annoy, irritate, agitate, upset people when we say things like that, because they say, but Osairah, I have these issues. This is real in my life. This is real in my loss. I have lost so much. How could this be good? We would say that is the key to see that everything, no matter what it is, no matter how it is offered, we know that that is the difficulty, because we could say mothers lose their children, lovers lose their spouses, children lose their parents, abuses and atrocities are happening and happened. And you are all here to transform that. You are all here to see that. You are all here, yes, sometimes to go through those difficulties, those atrocities, those unjust things, in order to transform them with love. We have said this so many times. There are people who have been chained to a wall who have been more free than those who walk around your streets. You have the choice within the body-mind complex to remember that you are one, that love is an answer that is real, palpable, and digestible. Then that can come into the frequency on this planet. We know that for some, that is just utter idiocy. That is absolutely mumbo jumbo. And then we would know that that is not for them. That is all. It doesn't mean they're more right or we're more right. We're saying to you, all things exist. All things forevermore exist. What do you choose to align with in this life or the thousands that are to come? because you have gotten yourself to here in this moment, in this body, in this mind, in this social complex of being a human being on this planet, in the memory of your totality. You are in this alignment. You are hearing our words. You are connecting to like-minded. You are doing the works. You are willing to remember love. You are willing to remember light. You are willing to remember gratitude, even in the face of ugliness, harshness, not love, not gratitude. You are willing to remember through atrocities and abuses that love really does hold. That when you can see the entirety of the earth potentially covered over in buildings or cement, that still up through the cracks grows life, earth, flowers, chlorophyll, green, willingness, heart, soul, creation to birth new goodness codes. That is what is occurring on the physical manifestation. And you are here to remember that you are here holding a higher vibration, that not all that you see is at all what is real, and that so much put before you is perception, simply perception. So how do you perceive? There's the word so many are dealing with on the level of what's real or true. What's really true? What's really true, Osairah? What's really true? You are facing what's really true in the world, first of all. And then we would say, pull that in. What's really true for you? This is where it begins, dear ones. We cannot say it more directly, more plainly. And for those who would be the naysayers, then we are not for you at this time. And that is all. That is all. It's not a thing. It's not an argument. It's not a berating. It's not a belittling. If this matches your frequency and it feels like home in the heart and in your soul, and you feel the light calling you, then align to that love and beam that, for you will feel more free. And when those things that come unto you that have been harsh or hard, or they do not align to love, they feel like difficulty, pain, atrocity, you look at that and you say, how can I transform this with love? How can I live through this with forgiveness? How can I see this beyond my small-minded thinking, whatever it was that I was programmed with, whoever my environment told me I couldn't, or being less than? How do I unwind those frequencies? We're going back to those. How do I unwind those synergistic alignments of frequencies to help myself remember that I am the totality of one? And in this way, the light moves through me, and love is the filter I operate with. So anything that perceived to be me with tragedy, with harshness, with insecurity, with fear, with doubt, I look at that and I trust that all is well, that there is no thing here really, because I am eternal, that can harm me. There is no thing here ultimately that can take away my freedom if I know who and what I am. Now, we are not saying live in the pie in the sky. If you need to relocate and you feel it in your bones and in your body and in your highest mind, move. If you feel that it is time for you to leave a relationship or leave a job or move on to something else or let go of this or let go of that, listen deeply. Give yourself some space and time, as we said. Don't make any harsh, big judgmental movements right this minute. Not today. Maybe give it some time for this month. Let things settle. Let your energies start to show up in the world of form as you see it. Trust yourself that you'll know that there's no direct hit, that you have to run to another location or run from this or that. But let it settle and ask yourself over some time, allowing yourself to remember who and what you really are. Come into joy and alignment just for being alive, and the truth will come in. And you will know when it is the right choice, and you will hear guidance and direction, and you will feel truth come unto you for you. But it cannot do that for you if you are distracted all day long. So listen deeply within. Put your hands on the earth for love and gratitude. Ask to be having the knowingness revealed to you absolutely affirming it. We are doing that right now, and you will need to hear it within yourself. We say that these ways and so many more that we have offered are here at your fingertips because you are the materialization of creation itself. You are manifesting through your emotional higher self consciousness of love. Remember who you are. Hold your precious heart, dear ones. Hold to remember how far you have come for how many lifetimes, and knowing that even this, most definitely this is good and very, very good. Hold that as the frequency on the regular, and you will parse out what needs to go, and you will trust, and more will be given. And that is the way that it works. These are the laws, and this is the law of the oneness that you are a part of in all time and all space, as you would see it. It is absolutely and always our joy to come forward and be with you at this time, especially at this time, dear one. So we would say to you, hold steady. Remember your light. Remember your love. And hold through these times of seemingly tribulation and things that need to come to their fruition of eruption so that they can be seen in the light of day. And remember that you are the I am presence of the oneness of creation. Love this that you are, and all things move through you. We look forward to more and bid you the most loving and magical and happy true adieu. Hi. Wow. Sorry, I'm so happy to be back. So many good questions. We got questions. So good. Oh, so good. Thank you all for your questions. I hope that the answers were helpful. Thank you, Armando. So nice to see you. And Suzanne and Sandy and Carrie. I didn't get to say hello to you guys at the beginning. Thank you, everyone. Such a wonderful call. I can't see the last person up there, Sandy. Okay. So beautiful. Thank you. I can't see your name. There it is. Dee. Hi, Dee. Thank you. And just so grateful that everyone is here holding this space and another epic event. That makes me so happy. Thank you, Bruce. I really know that's a lot of information and a lot of intense things. Here's what I want to say about that. Thank you, Carrie. Beautiful. Let it filter in, take it in piece by piece. When the recording comes to you, listen to the recording in chunks sometimes, because sometimes it's just so much that it's just so much, right? And it's going to layer in. I'm sorry, I'm becoming aware of all kinds of things that they shared and visions that they talked about. And so what is really important about that is that it is going to layer in with your consciousness. So I'm sure that a few of you at least know this already, if not all of you, that the more you listen to it, it changes, and it will illuminate new things that you hadn't thought of when you were directly on the call today, right now in this moment. And so listen to it throughout July and let it support you through this month, because we are going through so much, and there's going to be some shift points. We are going to see some things in the world that are going to probably shift us, and that is where, in a certain sense, our faith of the journey is going to be tested. And that's bringing me back to last month or the month before when they talked a lot about faith. So I remember these things over the course of our months, and I remember how things link together. So if you've been on this call, and you can go back and listen to June, or go back and listen to the month before, link the months together and see how they are supporting us. It's really phenomenal to be able to take that in over the month that you're in and see how what they've said a couple months before, or even 6 months before, or 2 months before, whatever it is, and then hearing this month, how they're weaving these pieces for us to really anchor onto at this time for this massive change and transition that we are in on this planet. I'll say in all honesty that at times it has felt kind of, for sure, discombobulating, and sometimes super depressing, and sometimes worrisome. And at times I felt hopeless and frustrated myself, very much so. And then something shifts me and I get recalibrated, and I remember I get so excited and hopeful. I get so excited and faithful. I get so excited for what we're actually changing and becoming. Now, here's one of the things I want to say about that, because I can remember for years with Osairah, and even in the Divine Feminine calls, they would be talking about how we are going to go through structural changes, how we are going to go through structural changes, old constructs. They were talking about that for at least the last 5 years, so hardcore, and definitely the 5 years before that and the couple of years before that, but they really were talking about it, dismantling. Oh, hi, Dayton. The patriarchal constructs that do not serve the whole of totality of our soul's evolution on this planet. I mean, I believe in my heart that if you are on this call or listening to the replay, you want an earth with unity and love and working orders of goodness for all beings. And, we have to leave an old system, and a lot of people are uncomfortable leaving that old system. It's scary. They don't know how to do it. They're afraid of it will be worse than it has been. And I'm going to say it's been really bad, because so much has been under the surface that has been corrupt and not good, and been lies and perpetuating abuses and horrendous things that we don't really want in a wholer society of love and unity. And some people might think that I am a pie in the sky thinker when it comes to that, or a magical thinker, and that it could never be that way. But I don't think so at all. I have seen that we have goodness. We have an earth that can be recalibrated, and human beings that can be in harmony and in balance with each other, that we don't have to be in a world of suffering to the ways that we have been. I've seen it. I've been shown things that really help me stay committed to this kind of work. No matter what I go through, no matter what experiences are happening, my commitment is here with this, because I have been shown and was shown as a little girl my visionary life, the life that I am here to walk. So I'm wanting to hold that vision with you and help you remember that even when it looks scary, dark, or weird, that we're going through a transition. And I can remember when Osairah was telling us these things for a number of months. It was probably a couple years ago, through these sessions and through the Divine Feminine sessions of the Golden Temple, etc. They would show me, and they would be saying these things, like in the channeling, like we're doing right now. And I would see the dismantling, the crumbling of buildings. I would see they would show me that literal structures would need to come down. And there would be, the word is demolition. There would be we have to bring what has been structurally holding up our world and bring it down and rebuild. And so that sounds scary to a lot of people who just want to hold on to, because the consciousness is keep it the same, because that's better than destruction. And that's not necessarily true. So we are the brave hearts and the brave souls who can envision a better and more golden reality, a golden new age. And we are holding that. So keep holding it. So stream these other Light the Way calls together. Go back and listen to a year if you have them. They're in your email, or maybe you downloaded them. But listen to what we have been saying and how we are here, and this is what we are now doing. That right there is exciting. That is, okay, how do I take care of myself the very best I can take care of myself, be of service in the world, and trust that this overlay, this play that we're in, is going to be served and serving the highest life that we want on this planet. And there will be some death and destruction, because there always is. I think about that when I go walking through the grass, when I'm out at a park or I'm out in nature. I pay attention to what I'm walking on, thinking about that I'm going to step on some ants or some bugs or and they're down there in that reality, in their little grassy world, looking up, and then all of a sudden there's a foot and they're just like wiped out. Like, what? So it's important to really think about how we are a part of a bigger whole, and that we can trust that bigger whole, really. Even if it looks like death and destruction, there's a good higher order in all this. I really believe that, and I hope that helps. I hope that helps. For this month of July 2020, and on the eclipse this weekend, I send you all my love and gratitude for being a part of this. And now I'm going to pull our card at the end. Thank you all for being here to the end as well. I am going to pull, there it is, it just came out. Perfect. Okay, I was just talking about walking out in nature. This is perfect. I just pulled from the Work Your Light Oracle deck, which is always so beautiful. And here it is. Get grounded. Empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature. That is what I've been saying for 2 weeks. I just need the forest so bad. So here you go. Get grounded. It's July. Get in nature. Love yourself. Meditate in nature, right? Gosh, that's a beautiful, special card. I hope you can see that. Get grounded. Lots of roses, my favorite. Yes. Because the more grounded and the more aligned we are, the more connected we are, the higher the vibration. It's just so helpful. We've got a lot of energies to walk through for this month. And it's good to take these things in, like sometimes you take things in a day, sometimes you take them hour by hour, sometimes you take it a month at a time. And that's what I hope this is serving you for this month, hour, day at a time. So much love to everyone. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful month. I'm here for you. I look forward to more, just like they do. And I'll talk to you soon. So much love. Happy July.